What's up, guys? It's Kector, and welcome back for another stream for Sushi. Yes. For a moment, I forgot where we were, but then I remembered the horrors. I was bombarded on my second screen here because apparently YouTube has a bunch of new live stream functions. Apparently I can stream horizontally and vertically at the same time, but it won't let me pick that option. And also apparently it can like find moments in the stream where people interacted the most and then prompt me to make a short from it or something. I don't know. It's weird. There's like the stream, the like what I see is completely different now, so it's interesting. Kenzie, what? Oh my god, Briarbox is back in the hospital? Oh my god. I saw on their story that they have pneumonia. Oh my god, I'm so sorry to hear that, you guys. You're going through it. I'm glad that they're in the hospital, though, and getting looked at. But, oh my god, that is so scary. Oh my god, we're thinking of you guys. Who is here? We got Emma, Guy, Sumo, Annika, Long Lost Time Lady, B. Hello, B. I was talking to Stitch about you earlier, actually, about how you were guiding me with the Silent Hill streams. Also, I bought more RAM for my computer because I figured instead of spending $2,000 on a new PC, which I probably should not do right now, I could spend like $100 to try and upgrade my laptop because I didn't know that was possible. So hopefully that will be less laggy. More RAM. Woo! Yeah! Also, I just saw on Twitter, I don't want to say anything because it's like a huge Arha spoiler, but the Japanese version of Arha just released their Volume 7 cover, and their Volume 7 is like our Volume 9. So a very important scene is on the cover, and it is so heartbreaking. It's just awful. It's amazing art, though. It's amazing art. Kenzie says, it helps when you work at a hospital. You know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I guess you could probably get in a bit easier. It's less of an event to go, maybe, if you're already there all the time. Annika says, I saw that on Insta. It was so powerful. Right? Oh my gosh. Kate says, it's the scene where Chuaning eats ranch. It was the ranch hole scene. Yes. I saw a card today at the mall and it said, you're a peach. And I thought about getting it and then writing on the inside, but I'll never drop you. B says, the lag is part of the charm. That's so kind of you to say. B says, is it the Moran dentist scene? I don't know anything about Arha. Whoa! Oh my god! Chung Chung! Holy shit! Quinn, and thank you for your donation, Quinn. A service dog nuzzled my hand and gave me kisses. It was so hard not to pet him. The owner noticed and said I could pet him. Oh my gosh, right? I love dogs. I also know what it's like to have a dog in public and not like people to come up to it, but I love dogs so much. So the few chances I get where a dog approaches me first, I'm always so eager to pet. I was definitely cuddling with Link earlier. Kate says, could you wave to my baby, please? She doesn't understand the concept that you can't hear her, and she's getting mad at me. Hello, Kate's baby! I see you! I see you! And you're so cute. Thank you for watching the stream. I hear every single word. That's so funny. Why is Jung Chung huge? I think I made Jung Chung huge on... I still haven't finessed everything. I made Jung Chung huge because the Wang Xin one is a little bit smaller, so I wanted that one bigger, but that made Jung Chung huge. Oh, man. Pabani says, so happy to catch a live stream again. By the way, I loved the Silent Hill Part 2. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm having a lot of fun playing it with you guys. I really am. Kate says she keeps waving now. Oh my god, she's so cute. Oh my god. Hi, Kate's baby. You're so good at waving. Oh my gosh, that's super cute. Kohaku says I'm eating a late dinner of egg salad sandwich, white cheddar popcorn, and caramel apple. That sounds exactly like how Stitch would have dinner before she met me. Also, I got a new shirt today. I actually got a new shirt and new pants today. I'm finding I am loving this color purple. I am loving the colors purple and pink. Purple, pink, and like red are like my new favorite colors. I love it. A shirt, it's oversized, it's too big, but I like it. Close the door before you slander the wife. Yeah. She knows it's true. She is reading a book right now. It's called Kata something. Catabanis or something. It's like there's magic school, and they're at Cambridge, and the professor dies. They need to go to hell to get the professor back. And I'm like, is it like when they had to go to hell to get Chuaning back? And she was like, kind of. Pabani, Kate got freaking wrongfully taken off of Instagram, but she does have a Twitter. Kate, if you want to post that in the chat. Kenzie says, okay, y'all, Briarbox got the big oxygen mask off. Oh, good. We appreciate the support while we are in the ER. Oh, yeah, of course. We're thinking about you guys. Neko Me says, I usually have Thursdays off, but I switched with my coworker so she could take her nieces to a fair, so I'm still at work. Oh, well, that's nice of you, though, to think of your coworker. That's very sweet of you. What a Thursday night. Yeah, oh my god. Last night, I could not sleep. I was really upset. And I couldn't fall asleep, and Stitch is so much fun. I literally was like, hey, I just can't sleep. And she was like, want to go have a couch party? And I was like, yeah. So we just got up and we went and we moved to the couch to go sleep on the couch just because couldn't fall asleep in the bed. I was like, why not? Let's just go on the couch and see if that works. And it did. We both fell asleep on the couch. It was great. Briarbox, you're alive! Ah, Jug's tits! Hi, friend. Back in the big bad ED. I'm likely to be admitted. Sending all the love and hugs. Jung Chungs for everyone. Love y'all. It's appreciated. Oh, Briarbox, you know I have you very close to my heart. This is the Briarbox right here. The Gojo box. I have him on the necklace. But I'm thinking about you, dude. I hope everything's okay. If you... You do not have to answer the question, but I am curious of like what is happening. Is it just like a breathing thing, like you can't catch your breath thing? Do not answer if you don't want to, but just know I don't, if you wanted to talk about it, you could talk about it, but yeah. Yeah, everybody send some good vibes to Briarbox in the chat. Gee says, get better quick, Briar. You are an amazing person. Oh. Bellowin says, oh no, your cat's gonna be hungry. Oh shit, I need to feed the dogs. We have a fine balance of feeding the Shibas because they're so picky. Kohaku says, it's 8:11 p.m. You know, that's the perfect time to have a caramel apple. I actually really wanted to get a caramel apple yesterday, but it didn't happen. So, I'm hoping maybe this weekend I could score one. Go feed the doggos. It's like a whole thing. I have to do it when we're eating later. I usually feed them like right before we have dinner, and we usually don't eat until like 7. Go feed doggos. How are the doggos doing? Especially the chubby one. They're so good. They're perfect. They're totally back to normal. Very, very happy dogs. They love cuddling with us. They love laying out in the sun. Which one is the chubby one? Lexi is the chubby one, and Linky is the horse one. Kate says, the idea of biting a caramel apple makes me cringe. Yes, if you get them cut, they're way better to enjoy. I like having like a caramel apple that's cut up in like a cup. That's the best. Kenzie says, in other news, we are dealing with stupid roommate shit because they broke our washer and almost caught the house on fire and then left for the day. Bro, what? Oh my god. That is awful. I am so lucky that I've never been in a bad roommate situation. I could only imagine the absolute hell of like not being able to relax in your own home because someone is like crazy. That's awful. Hey, Empire's Prince! Hello, hello! Nikki says, I've been busy painting a lot lately for an upcoming art exhibition that I have, and I love listening to your Dan Book Club videos while I work. Oh, that's awesome! I love hearing that! Well, next up, we have the Copper Coins one, so that'll be the next one on volume 1 of Copper Coins. That's so cool that you have an art exhibition, though. Congrats, that's freaking wicked. That's so cool. Kohaku says, my caramel apple is cut up. Nice! That's awesome. I'm jealous. I wish I had one. Yes, and then Stitch, actually, she also finished Nanchan, so that one will be probably after that. And then Arha, I guess. Miss Malice says, I'm working on crocheting a Shailene because I went to get the stuffies on 42 shops and the shipping and tariffs are more than the stuffies. Dude, I know. Ordering stuff online right now is just awful. Ah, Sumo! Oh, Sumo! Oh my goodness. Wait, that's great that you're gonna crochet. It's like I can't order, I'm gonna make it myself. That's wicked. I love that. Okay, Sumo has been a Supreme member for 20 months. And says, I survived the high amount of tests this week. Probably did badly on at least one, though. I'm waiting for the rain to finally stop so I could take some fun fall-themed pics for Wei Wuxian's birthday. I need to read more Legend of Exorcism. Yeah, because that comes out next week, right? Oh my god. Okay, getting fall-themed pics for Wei Wuxian's birthday. It's so beautiful. The trees outside now here. It's like in BC. It's like finally autumn. Like, and we're making this like autumn-themed video and it still looks like summer outside. But like this week, this is the week where the leaves have changed. And Stitch and I literally just went for a walk and we got a coffee. We actually got recognized there by someone who's so sweet. And it was just so fall, so beautiful, so nice out with all the leaves. So I hope your photo shoot goes good. And congrats on surviving all of your tests. And CSZL! Oh, poke Wei Wuxian right in the butt. Thank you for your donation. Ooh, is this the recap? We need this. Okay. The recap was Wen Qing hides Wei Wuxian and Zheng Cheng. Oh, yes. Zheng Cheng goes to Baoshan Mountain for the new core. When Chao finds Wei Wuxian and throws him into the burial mounds. Time skip. Sunshot campaign. Zheng Cheng and Lan Wangji team up, but the enemy soldiers are already dead. And then I was attacked by a spider. Yes! Yeah! Oh my god, we stopped at such a fucking good part. We stopped at the part where literally Lan Wangji and Zheng Cheng come across all the dead Wen soldiers and they're all killed in different ways. And it's like, who fucking did this? And Zheng Cheng's kind of like, I don't know who did it, but he's on our side, so it's fucking awesome. And I think we might know who did it. Oh my god, it's so scary. It's so scary. It's so scary. It was very violent and scary. I mean, understandable with what happened and all, but like, ooh, it's fucking gruesome. Very scary. Oh, yeah. Not the only thing that poked him in the butt, says B. Oh my gosh. Kate, I also saw your message that said that you're excited for the bald man Yowie. Hell yeah. And B says, I've never considered a cut up caramel apple. I'm not northern enough for this, I fear. That's funny. Gabby Fest says, I've been debating reading Copper Coins and Nanchan, so that's exciting. I love using the Danmei book clubs to help decide if I want to read the books. Yeah, no, that's, I feel the same way, because Stitch reads them, and then I'm like, well, maybe I'll read this one. B agrees and says it only started to feel like autumn yesterday. Yeah. Viandra says, I'm trying to cross-stitch during the stream, but my kitten's in my lap and she keeps attacking the string. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god. Viandra, what color is your kitten? That is so cute. Oh my goodness. Yeah, fall vibes, Esper Lady. Ooh, Kohako says, I love how we're still talking about the caramel apple. Like, I want to know everything. Caramel apple I got is homemade, and I got it last weekend at a campground and trick-or-treating. That is fucking awesome. The best caramel apple I've ever had was at the Ren Fair, and it was cut up, and then they put whipped cream on it, and then they put, like, chocolate sauce on it, and, like, M&Ms, and it was so decadent. It was delicious. So I'm glad you're enjoying yours. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Sharkus, hey! Kate says, I bet he shaves his head and his balls. Well, there goes the, the monetization on this stream. Bald monk be going hard. Bald monk be getting hard. All right. Leandra says, gray with white socks. Oh, I found her in the bushes in my backyard a few months ago. Her name is Echo because I found her by her meowing. Stop! That's so cute. Oh my god, that's the cutest story ever. What a good name. Oh. That is really, really cute. Orion says, you can't say shaved balls or YouTube kills you. That's why I think they rolled out the new live stream feature. It was to make sure you don't say shaved balls live. Kate! Not the brush bush! Oh my god, oh my god. Oh. Is Xavian in the chat by chance? Sumo says, do you recommend trying a caramel apple? I've never had those. Yes. Yes. I would recommend it. It can get stuck in your teeth if you do just like bite into it. But I can't find my, where the hell is the thing that makes me go down? Oh. Kate, are you still frickin' sick? Oh my god. Dude, please get better soon. Holy cow, that is crazy. You've been sick for so long. That's awful. Oh my gosh. It's been a month. Oh. That is so upsetting to hear. Oh my god. Yeah, we need you more in the chat. We need more of your gorgeous art. Please. I showed Stitch your beef leaf and she was like, Kate is like a modern day Renaissance man. Your mind, you're on like galaxy brain. Amy says, saw mentions of copper coins. Currently reading that one, nearly done. Trying to finish it before volume 3 of Legend of Exorcism comes out, but homework keeps slowing me down. Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Rose City Kimono says, I know I am waiting for the Copper Coins review. I'm hoping the vibe of the book is different than the one I got. Failed chaos, but still works out in the end, equals a comedy of errors theme. Yeah. I don't know what it's about at all. Is it easier to eat a caramel apple cut up? Yes. Yes, definitely. Okay. Shall we dive in? Okay, it's spooky time. It's spooky. We don't know. We don't know. Who? Extra strokes, Lamwanji commented. Huh? Hengwan Jun already talking about strokes? Oh yeah, so there's a talisman, and they're like, the talisman should have protected them from any, like, ghost stuff. What the fuck? And then Lamwanji analyzed it and saw that there were extra strokes in the talisman, and it's actually, like, attracting stuff. Not repelling, which we learned about early in the first book, if you remember. It was a spooky talisman. Yes. Ordinary talismans repel evil, Lamwanji replied. This one attracts it. Scary. Jiangcheng was astounded. A talisman that attracts evil? That's unheard of. Indeed, Lamwanji said, but tests show that it has the ability to summon and assemble things nefarious. Jiangcheng took the talisman and scrutinized it. Just adding a few strokes? I can't say strokes with a straight face. I'm fucking 12 years old. Just adding a few strokes reverses the function of the entire talisman? Was this done by a human? A total of 4 strokes were added. I'm sorry. Drawn with human blood, Lamwanji said. Every residence protection talisman at the Overwatch office was altered. The pattern of the brushstrokes indicate it was done by the same person. Who could they possibly be? Jiangcheng wondered. I've never heard of any renowned cultivator capable of doing such a thing. Then he added, but no matter who he is, it's all good as long as his goal is the same as ours, to slaughter every last Wen dog. Following the intel they've received, the two headed northward. In every area they passed, they heard locals gossiping about strange corpses who had died violent deaths. These corpses were all dressed in Blazing Sun uniforms, all Wen cultivators. All of them were high rank and had remarkable cultivation, but had still died horribly and in horrifying variety of ways, their corpses left on display in crowded areas. Do you think they were all killed by that person? Jiangcheng asked. The evil aura is intense, Lamwanji replied. It must be the work of the same individual. He's having a bit of a heaven's eye moment. Jiangcheng snorted. Evil? Is there anyone eviler than the Wen dogs in this world? They maintained their pursuit until late into the night of the 4th day, when they finally picked up Wen Julio's trail near a post station in a remote mountain city. The post station had 2 stories, with a stable at the side. When Lamwanji and Jiangcheng arrived, they saw a large figure charge into the building and lock the door. Both of them were wary of Wen Julio's core-melting hand, so in the interest of not alerting the enemy, they leapt onto the rooftop rather than enter through the door. Forcing himself to endure the overpowering hatred in his heart, Jiangcheng ground his teeth and peered through a crack between the roof tiles at the scene playing out below. A travel-worn Wen Julio carried someone in his arms as he trudged up to the 2nd floor. He set the person he carried beside the table and dashed to the window to draw all the curtains, sealing off the room entirely. Only then did he return to the table and light the oil lamp. The faint light illuminated his face. It was still wan and grim, but there were now heavy, dark circles under his eyes. The other person at the table was tightly bundled in his cloak like a fragile cocoon, with even his face concealed. He cowered inside the fabric, trembling and gasping for breath. Don't light the lamp, he suddenly said. What if he discovers us? Lamwanji raised his head and exchanged looks with Jiangcheng. You seeing this shit? Both had the same curious expression. This had to be Wen Chao, but how had his voice gotten like that? It was so shrill and small that it didn't sound like Wen Chao at all. Wen Julio lowered his head to rummage around in his sleeves. You think he won't find us if we don't light the lamp? We ran for so long, Wen Chao panted. He shouldn't be able to catch us, right? Perhaps, Wen Julio answered in an indifferent tone. What do you mean, perhaps? Wen Chao exclaimed angrily. If we haven't gotten far enough away from him yet, then why didn't you keep running? You need to take your medicine, or you'll die, Wen Julio replied. He lifted Wen Chao's cloak as he spoke. The pair on the rooftop were stunned at the sight that waited beneath. Beneath the cloak was not Wen Chao's arrogant, domineering, greasily handsome face, but a bald head swathed in bandages. Wen Julio peeled off the bandages layer by layer until the bald man's skin was exposed. His face was marred by uneven burns and scars. It looked like he'd been cooked. He was so hideous, so ugly, that not a single hint remained of the man he had once been. Damn. Leandra says, oh, so Jung Chung is capable of self-control. Yeah. Wen Julio took out a bottle of medicine and fed him several pills. Then he took out some salve and applied it to the burns on his head and face. Wen Chao whimpered in pain. Do not shed tears, Wen Julio advised. Tears will make the wounds fester and the pain increase. Wen Chao had no choice but to hold back his tears, unable to even cry. In the tiny flickering firelight, the bald, burned man bared his teeth in a grimace, making strange, indistinct sounds. The lamp's flame wavered on the edge of death, struggling bright and fading dim. It was a sight that was beyond horrifying. Suddenly, Wen Chao let out a shriek. Flute! A flute! Is that the sound of a flute? I hear him playing the flute again! No, Wen Julio reassured. It's the sound of the wind. Ooh, we know the flutes. However, Wen Chao was already so scared that he'd fallen into the ground howling. Wen Julio picked him up again. It appeared there was something wrong with Wen Chao's legs, making him unable to walk by himself. After applying the salve, Wen Julio produced several steamed buns from his robes and handed them to Wen Chao. Eat. We'll continue on our way once you're done. Wen Chao held a bun with both shuddering hands and took a bite. The sight reminded Jung Chung of the day he and Wei Wuxian had fled, of the tragic plight they'd been in, without a single bite of food to share between them. It was truly karma! Feeling buoyant, his lips curled into a smile, and he laughed madly and silently. How do you laugh madly and silently? As Wen Chao bit down, a horrifying expression twisted his face. With a shriek, he hurled the steamed bun away. I won't eat meat! I won't eat it! I'm not eating it! No meat! Wen Julio handed him another one. This one doesn't have meat. I'm not eating anymore! Wen Chao screamed. Take it away! Get lost! I want to look for my dad! When can we get back to my dad's place? At this speed, 2 more days, Wen Julio replied. He spoke honestly, never exaggerating or falsifying his words, but it was this honesty that put Wen Chao in even more extreme misery. 2 days? He croaked in a hoarse voice. 2 days? Look at the state I'm in. What will I look like if I wait another 2 days? You useless thing! Wen Julio abruptly shot to his feet, and Wen Chao flinched, thinking he was about to flee on his own. All of a sudden, he knew fear. One after another, every single one of his guards had come to a violent end before his eyes. Wen Julio was the strongest of his defenders, and the last one he could count on. He hurriedly changed his tune. No, no, no! Wen Julio! Wen Daga! Don't go! You can't abandon me! As long as you bring me back to my dad, I'll get him to promote you to the highest-ranking guest cultivator. No, I mean, you saved me, so you're my Daga. I'll have him officially adopt you into the family proper. From now on, you're my Daga! Wen Julio stared in the direction of the stairs. No need, he said. He's like, we gonna die. We're dying here tonight. Lan Wangji and Jung Chung also heard what he did. The sound of footfalls echoed from the post-station stairwell, one after another. Someone was walking up the stairs, one step at a time. All the remaining blood in Wen Chao's burnt face instantly drained away. Shaking, he extended both hands from his cloak to cover his face, as if he was scared enough to think he could protect himself by being blind to what approached. But his hands were stumps. Not a single finger remained. Thud, thud, thud. The newcomer slowly ascended the stairs. Dressed entirely in black, he cut a slender figure. There was a flute hanging at his waist, and he walked with his hands clasped behind his back. On the roof, Lan Wangji nutted. Sorry. On the roof, Lan Wangji and Jung Chung gripped the hilts of their swords. The person making his leisurely way upstairs and turned to look at the room's occupants. The person finished making his leisurely way upstairs and turned to look at the room's occupants with a smile. The moment Lamonji laid eyes on the guest's bright, handsome, and familiar face, his eyes widened in disbelief. His lips quivered, and he mouthed a couple of words. Zhang Cheng almost sprang to his feet right then and there. Wei Wuxian! Oh my god! Imagine being Lamonji in this moment. Oh my god. Oh my god. He would be so relieved. Like, the mix of being so relieved and so excited to see him, and then like, oh fuck, he's a fucking monster. Oh. Emmy, thank you for being a member for 13 months. Yay, Wei Wuxian! Yeah! A monster. A hot monster. Indeed. Indeed he is. Yay, he's back to what is he doing? Okay, on the roof, Lamonji and Zhang Cheng gripped the hilts of their swords. The person finished making his leisurely way upstairs and turned to look at the room's occupants with a smile. The moment Lamonji laid eyes on the guest's bright, handsome, and familiar face, his eyes widened in disbelief. His lips quivered, and he mouthed a couple of words. Zhang Cheng almost sprang to his feet right then and there. Wei Wuxian! But aside from the face, nothing about this person resembled the Wei Wuxian they once knew. Wei Wuxian was a bright and exuberant youth, with a hint of laughter forever at the corners of his eyes and lips. Furthermore, he had never been one to walk so properly. This person was shrouded in gloom and biting cold. He was handsome but ghastly pale, and his smile could only be described as sinister. He looked a little bit like this. Handsome but sinister, yes, very much so. The scene unfolding before their eyes was too unexpected to process. They could not act rashly, with the situation still so unclear. Though shocked beyond belief, the pair on the roof did not rush in recklessly, but merely craned their necks closer to the cracks between the tiles. Inside the room, the black-clad Wei Wuxian slowly turned around. With his face covered, Wen Chao's voice failed him, and he could only wheeze out a single phrase. Wen! Julio! Wen! Julio! Wei Wuxian's eyes crinkled, and the corners of his lips slowly curved up. Even now, you think calling him will be of any use? As he took a few steps closer, his foot hit something white. He looked down. It was the meat bun that Wen Chao had flung away earlier. Wei Wuxian quirked a brow. What, are you getting picky now? Wen Chao collapsed to the floor from the stool and let loose a piercing screech. I'm not eating it! I'm not eating it! I'm not eating it! As he wailed and shrieked, he crawled along the floor with his fingerless hands. The black cloak slid down his lower body as it dragged along the floor, revealing his legs, which hung under him like burdensome decorations. They were fully wrapped in bandages and looked abnormally thin. His violent movements tugged open gaps in the wrapping, exposing the ghastly white bones hidden beneath. There were a few lingering gobbets of flesh hanging off of them, fresh with bright red blood. Ew, what? That's gross. His legs had been stripped raw of their flesh, and considering the evidence at hand, that flesh had likely been forced into Wen Chao's own mouth. Oh. Eat your own legs o'clock. Wen Chao's shrill screams echoed through the empty post station. Wei Wuxian gently lifted the hem of his robe and sat down at the other table, acting like he didn't hear a thing. The second oil lamp sputtered faintly to life. Before the bright yellow flame, half of Wei Wuxian's face lay in the light, while the other half remained in darkness. He lowered his hand, and a deathly pale face materialized from the darkness under the table. Crunch, crunch. They heard the sound of chewing. A small, pale child crouched at his feet. He was gnawing on something Wei Wuxian had tossed him, like a carnivorous little beast. Wei Wuxian reached out to give the pale child 2 gentle pats on his sparsely haired head. Carrying the treat in his mouth, the ghostly child turned around and sat at Wei Wuxian's feet. He He hugged Wei Wuxian's calf, chewing ferociously while glaring at Wen Julia with frosty, glinting eyes. The ghostly child was gnawing on 2 human fingers. Needless to say, they must have been Wen Chao's. Ugh. Staring at the sinister ghost child and the equally sinister Wei Wuxian, Lan Wangji tightened his grip on Bishen's hilt. As always, Wen Julio stood before Wen Chao, shielding him. Wei Wuxian's head drooped low, making it impossible to read his expression. Wen Julio, do you really think you can protect his shitty life from me? I will die trying, Wen Julio replied. Wei Wuxian sneered. What a loyal Wen dog. I owe a debt of gratitude for their recognition, Wen Julio stated. It must not go unrepaid. Wei Wuxian's tone and expression turned abruptly sinister. What a joke, he exclaimed sharply. And why must others pay the price for your debt? Before he finished, Wen Chao's shrill, piercing wails rang out from behind Wen Julio. Wen Chao had crawled to a corner of the room and desperately pushed himself against the wooden planks, as if he could squeeze himself through the cracks by doing so. But all of a sudden, a figure dropped from the ceiling with a heavy thud. It was a ghostly pale woman with long hair who had fallen on him. The bluish tint of her bloodless face, her vibrant red robes, and jet-black hair stood in glaring, terrifying contrast to one another. Her fingers gripped the bandages on Wen Chao's head and ripped them off hard. Wen Julio had only just changed Wen Chao's bandages after using the salve, so the salve's skin and bandages were still damp and stuck together as she pulled. Burned skin was fragile to begin with. The single forceful yank tore off the still fresh scabs, as well as the thin burned skin and flesh. Even his lips were ripped away. Oh! In an instant, his marred, bald head became a mangled, bloody dome. Ew! Oh my god, this is so scary! Also, Crimson Queen, you noticed that. Thank you. Oh god, that's gross. Wen Chao fainted on the spot. The moment Wen Julio heard his blood-curdling scream, he immediately whirled around in an attempt to save him. On the roof, Lan Wangji and Zheng Cheng tightened their grips on their swords and prepared to attack. They have tightened their grips on their swords like 3 times now. However, they heard another shriek. The ghostly child at Wei Wuxian's feet had pounced. Wen Julio struck his palm at the ghostly child's forehead, but was assaulted by intense pain as the ghostly child bared his sharp teeth and bit down. Unable to shake him off, Wen Julio attempted to ignore the ghostly child and moved to save Wen Chao, but the child spat out the large chunk of flesh it had ripped from his palm and continued to gnaw at the rest of his hand. Wen Julio grabbed the ghostly child's small, ice-cold head with his other hand, looking as if he planned to crush it. The pale-faced woman threw the bloody bandages to the ground and, falling to all fours like an animal, crawled to Wen Julio in a flash. A single slash of her hands left him with 10 bloody gouges. The 2 nefarious creatures continued their assault, forcing Wen Julio to grapple with them as they bit and tore at him incessantly. He was completely overwhelmed, and his flailing rendered him an extremely sorry sight. Turning his head, he saw Wei Wuxian watching from the sidelines with a sneer on his face. Without warning, Wen Julio pounced at him. Lan Wangji and Zheng Cheng's faces fell. Lan Wangji smacked his palm down, tiles shattered, and the roof collapsed. He dropped from the eaves into the 2nd story of the post station and positioned himself between Wen Julio and Wen Wuxian! That's diabolical. Wen Julio was taken aback as a long whip crackling with purple light suddenly lashed through the air. It twisted around Wen Julio's neck, winding around it full force 3 times before suspending him above the ground. Nice. The whip, which sizzled with lightning, dangled his heavy body in the air, swiftly followed by the crunch of his neck snapping. Okay, I'm glad Zheng Cheng got to be the one to actually kill him. At the same time, Wei Wuxian's pupils shrank. He pulled the flute from his waist and rose to his feet in a swirl of robes. The ghostly child and pale-faced woman who'd been tearing at Wen Julio swiftly retreated to his side and stared warily at the 2 strange newcomers. Wen Julio wasn't dead just yet. Oh. His face bulged and reddened, and his body spasmed. He struggled even now, his eyes opened so wide, his eyeballs all but burst from their sockets. The ghostly child kept baring his teeth at Lan Wangji and Zheng Cheng in an open display of animosity. Wei Wuxian raised his hand slightly and bade the ghostly child retract his fangs. His eyes darted back and forth between Lan Wangji and Zheng Cheng. None of them seemed to want to be the first to speak. After a long moment, Zheng Cheng tossed something over. Wei Wuxian raised his hand and caught it without a second thought. "Your sword!" Zheng Cheng said. Wei Wuxian's hand slowly dropped. He glanced down at Sui Bian. After a brief pause, he muttered, "Thanks." There was another long silence. That's so awkward. Oh my god. All of a sudden, Zheng Cheng walked up to him and smacked him. "You bastard! Where have you been for the past 3 months?" Although the words were scolding, his tone revealed his wild delight. While Lan Wangji did not go to him, his eyes remained locked on Wei Wuxian. Not once did he look away. Ah! The smack from Zheng Cheng completely dazed Wei Wuxian. A second later, he slapped him back. "Haha! It's a long story. A long story." The two smacks seemed to dissipate most of the cold, gloomy aura surrounding him. Despite his joy, Zheng Cheng was angry too. He hugged Wei Wuxian hard and then shoved him away and began to yell at him. "Didn't we agree to meet at that crappy town at the foot of the mountain? I waited for 5 or 6 days, but I didn't catch a single glimpse of you. Even if you want to die, at least die in front of me. Do you know how insanely busy I've been these past 3 months? Wei Wuxian swept away the hem of his robe and settled down again at the table. "Like I said, it's a long story." He waved dismissively. "A bunch of Wen dogs were moving earth and heaven to find me at the time. They were waiting for me at that village. They caught me and threw me into a hellhole to suffer." As he spoke, the pale-faced woman crawled towards him on her hands and knees. Her expression had been hideously savage while she fought, but was now bewitchingly charming, like a favored concubine integrating herself with her master. She giggled and kneeled by Wei Wuxian's side, with her blue face pressed against his thigh. Wei Wuxian reclined against the edge of the table, his right hand stroking her long, soft hair over and over. Lan Wangji's face grew progressively grimmer as he watched Wei Wuxian's actions. Although the scene made Zheng Cheng a little uncomfortable, his surprise overtook his discomfort. "What hellhole? I interrogated the people in town, and they all said they'd never seen you before." "You questioned the people in that town?" Wei Wuxian laughed. "They're all naive, rural villagers, scared of inviting trouble. Why would they dare tell you the truth? Besides, the Wen dogs must have done something to seal their mouths. Of course they'd say they never saw me." These last couple pages have a ton of typos in them. And this is like the first edition of the book, and I'm sure they were rushing to get this out, but it's just, it's like, wow, I have the special first edition. Oh, I didn't even really realize that. Even if you want to die, die in front of me. Oh, shit. Yes. The special edition where Wen Wuxian is canon. Wen Ying! "Those old fools," Zheng Cheng cursed. He then probed further. "What hellhole? Xichen? Nightless City? How did you escape then? And turn into this? What are those two things? To think they actually obey you. Lan Argangza and I took on this mission to launch a night raid to kill Wen Chao and Wen Julio, but someone beat us to it. I never expected it to be you. Were you also the one who altered those talismans?" From the corner of his eye, Wei Wuxian caught a glimpse of Lan Wangji, who had been watching them speak. He smiled. "More or less. Would you believe me if I said I found a mysterious cave somewhere, packed full of mysterious scrolls, left behind by a mysterious master, and then emerged like this and went on a killing spree?" Zheng Cheng clicked his tongue. "Wake up, you've read way too many fantasies. The world isn't packed with secret masters and secret caves with secret scrolls." Wei Wuxian shrugged. "See, you don't believe me even when I tell you. I'll explain my situation in detail later, when we have time." Zheng Cheng glanced at Lan Wangji, guessing that it was likely something not appropriate to be discussed in the presence of an outsider. Curbing his delight, he finally said, "All right, we'll talk later. It's good to have you back." No. Also, thanks for helping me get my core back. It works. Good to be back, Wei Wuxian concurred. Zheng Cheng mumbled, "Good to have you back," a few more times to himself, then smacked Wei Wuxian hard again. "You really are! To think you could escape death even after the Wen dogs caught you!" Of course, Wei Wuxian replied smugly. Who do you think I am? Zhang's so cute. Oh my god. Good to have you back. Good to have you back. He's just mumbling to himself and then hits him. Zhang couldn't help but curse. The hell are you so smug for? If you weren't dead, why didn't you come back earlier? I just got out, didn't I? Wei Wuxian explained. I heard that you and Xichen were doing well, and that you were rebuilding the Zheng clan and forming an alliance to participate in the fight. And so, I went to kill some Wen dogs to lighten your load and contribute a little. You've worked hard these past 3 months. The last sentence made Zhang recall those 3 arduous months. Made him recall the way he'd been constantly on the move, busy all day and all night. He seemed to get a bit emotional, but immediately schooled his expression. Zhang got emotional over Wei Wuxian commending him by just saying, you've worked hard over these past 3 months. Like, him in that moment just being like, I have fucking worked hard, man. It was so hard. And I missed you and I was so scared, but I did it. And Wei Wuxian, like, acknowledging it, because he never gets acknowledged for fucking anything, right? Oh, that's really sad. Put that lousy sword of yours away properly, he snapped. I've been waiting for you to get back and take it off my hands. I don't want to haul 2 swords around all the time and constantly be bombarded with nosy questions. Like yeah, Miss Malice says, Wei Wuxian said good job and Zhang can't handle it. And I love that, like, he literally was about to cry, and then in such, like, a tsundere fucking way, he, like, has to be like, and take your sword back. It's annoying. You're so annoying. Oh, God, I missed you. Thank you. Oh, it's so sad. Leandra says, really shows how crappy his parents were. Yeah, literally. Ugh. Wei Ying, Lan Wangji suddenly called. He'd been standing quietly at the side all this time. At the sudden call, Wei Wuxian and Zhang both turned to him. It was only then that Wei Wuxian seemed to remember to greet him. He dipped his head and did so. Hengguanzhen, were you the one who has been killing Wen sect disciples? Lan Wangji asked. Of course, Wei Wuxian replied. I knew it, Zhang said. Why did you kill them one at a time? That's so much work. It's fun, toying with them until they die, Wei Wuxian explained. Exterminating them right away is letting them off too easy. Kill them one at a time, one slow slice after another. Force them all to watch it happen. Needless to say, I haven't tortured Wen Chao enough yet. As for Wen Julio, he owed Wen Rohan a debt of kindness for his recognition. So much so that he changed his surname to join the Wen clan and carried out Wen Rohan's orders to protect his precious little son. Wei Wuxian sneered. Since he wants to protect him, I want to make him watch all the more. Give him a front row seat to watch Wen Chao deteriorate beyond recognition in his hands, little by little, until he becomes neither human nor ghost. His smile was sinister, cruel, and cheerful in equal measure. Lan Wangji took every bit of the expression in. He took a step forward. What method did you employ to manipulate these nefarious creatures? B says, that's a crazy sentence, Wei Wuxian. Okay. Yeah. Wei Wuxian, you may need some healthier coping mechanisms. Yeah, I mean, part of me is like, if they did that to your whole entire family, and then you just gave your, you know, he had to figure it out. He had to cope somehow, you know? Like, oh, fuck. It's fucked up, man. The curve of Wei Wuxian's lips fell sharply. He looked askance at Lan Wangji. Zhang could hear the dissent in his voice. Lanar Gongso, what are you implying? Lan Wangji stared fixedly at Wei Wuxian. Answer me. That's kind of hot. That's hot. I love how he's like, I told you not to use the demon way, and this really smells like the demon way. Ugh. Lan Wangji stared fixedly at Wei Wuxian. Answer me. The ghostly child and pale-faced woman became restless. Wei Wuxian swept a glance at them, and they reluctantly backed off and slunk into the darkness. Only then did Wei Wuxian turn back to Lan Wangji, his brows raised. If I may ask, what happens if I don't answer? Oh my god, they're flirting. Oh my god. Lan Wangji abruptly grabbed at him. Wei Wuxian evaded and took 3 steps back. Lanjan, we've just been reunited after so long, and you're already trying to arrest me. That's not nice, is it? Lan Wangji moved with his hands, not his mouth, and Wei Wuxian parried every blow he threw at him. They were both quick and agile. After the 3rd time pushing his hands away, Wei Wuxian rebuked him harshly. Here I thought we could at least be considered acquaintances. Isn't it a tad heartless of you to attack me over a simple disagreement? Answer me, Lan Wangji repeated. Zhang Cheng stood between the two of them to intervene. Lan Gongsa! Lan Gongsa, Wei Wuxian said. What you're asking is really too hard to explain in a short time, and it's a strange question, too. Suppose I asked you about the secret techniques of the Lan clan of Gusu. Would you answer me? Lan Wangji pushed past Zhang Cheng and made a grab for Wei Wuxian again. Wei Wuxian raised his flute to block him. Going a bit far there, aren't we? Why so uncompromising, Lan Zhan? What exactly do you want? Lan Wangji said, enunciating each word as clearly as he could. Return to Gusu with me. He said it! He said it! I'm gonna take my little demon boy and bring him back to Gusu, and I'm gonna fix you. I'm gonna fix you because what's going on here is pretty fucked up. Oh, he said it. Return to Goose. Return to Gusu. That's where Lan Wangji's from. Oh, this is a good puppet moment. Okay, so he's like, yes, you see, I tortured them, and it was so great, and I loved it. And Zhang Cheng's like, well, okay, I fucking hate the Wen dogs, but sure. And then Lan Wangji comes in and says, Wei Ying. Sorry, let me just fix my headband really quick. Wei Ying. What way did you use? Tell me. And he's like, I don't really want to tell you. I feel like Wei Wuxian's voice is Bugs Bunny in my head sometimes. And he's like, please tell me. And then they're like, and they're fighting. And then Zhang Cheng comes in and is like, whoa, stop it. And then he says, Wei Ying, return to Gusu with me. No. And then he's sad. Wei Wuxian is so Bugs Bunny coded. Thank you. I'm glad you agree. I love that Lan Wangji, like, we know Lan Wangji is looking after Wei Wuxian's, it's like he's worried about him. He's not just like, don't do this because it's illegal. He's like, don't do this because it's bad for your fucking body and soul, Oh, it's so juicy, though, knowing the reasons why. I just got new pants, and I forgot there's, like, one tag in the back, and it is poking me. Oh, I got it. Uh-oh, the other piece. Where'd the other piece go? Well, I'll find that later, I suppose. Ugh! Okay. Miss Malice says, the misunderstanding is so delicious. Wei Wuxian thinks he's under arrest, but Lan Wangji is trying to hide him. Yes! Like, oh, we just shared a turtle battle together. Do you really think I would be willing to arrest you? Both Wei Wuxian and Zhang Cheng were taken aback. After a moment, Wei Wuxian said with a laugh, return to Gusu with you? To the cloud recesses? Whatever for? It immediately dawned on him. Oh, right, I forgot. Your uncle, Lan Xiren, absolutely hates unorthodox heretics like me. You're his favorite pupil, so of course you're the same. Haha. Well, no thanks. Zhang Cheng stared warily at Lan Wangji. Lan Gongsa, everyone knows the ways of the Lan clan. However, Wei Wuxian saved you in the Xuanwu of Slaughter's cave at Mount Mushi. He's been through adversity with you. Isn't it a tad unreasonable of you to mercilessly condemn him right now? Wei Wuxian looked at him. Not bad, huh? You've got the air of a family head. You shut up, Jung Chung said. But then he, like, curled his hair behind his ear and was like, thank you. Condemnation is not my intent, Lamonji stated. Then why do you want him to return to Gusu with you? Jung Chung questioned. Lanar Gongsa, does the Land Clan of Gusu intend to insist on its archaic doctrines right here and right now, rather than working with everyone to kill the Wen dogs? Lamonji's like, no, I want to bring him back and give him little kisses. Oh shit, did my camera just freeze? No! No. One moment. Yay! We're back. Okay. Is it mutiny if she's technically there? Ghost mutiny? Kate says, good thing it's a reading stream and not a seeing stream. Okay. Condemnation is not my intent, Lamonji stated. Then why do you want him to return to Gusu with you? Jung Chung questioned. Lanar Gongsa, does the Land Clan of Gusu intend to insist on its archaic doctrines right here and right now, rather than working with everyone to kill the Wen dogs? 1 against 2. Lamonji nevertheless stood his ground and gazed at Wei Wuxian. Wei Ying, you will eventually have to pay the price for cultivating along a deviant path. There have been no exceptions to this rule throughout history. I can afford it, Wei Wuxian replied. Seeing his nonchalance, Lamonji said darkly, that path injures the body, and more so, one's nature. I know best whether or not it harms my body, and by how much, Wei Wuxian declared. And as for my nature, I'm the master of my own heart. I know what I'm doing. Some things are simply beyond your control, Lamonji persisted. A hint of displeasure flashed across Wei Wuxian's face. Of course I can control it. Lamonji took a step closer and was about to speak again, but Wei Wuxian narrowed his eyes. What do others know of my nature, and how is that anyone else's business? Lamonji was stunned for a moment, then exclaimed angrily, Wei Wuxian! Lan Wanji. Wei Wuxian was angry as well. Must you come at me like this right now? You want me to go to the cloud recesses and be confined by the Land Clan as punishment? Why, who do you think you are? What do you think the Land Clan is? Do you really think I won't fight back? An air of hostility had erupted between the two. Lamonji gripped Bishan's hilt so hard his knuckles had turned white. Lanar Gongsa, Jung Chung said icily, the Wens have not been eradicated yet. We're at a point where we urgently need extra forces. Everyone already has their hands full, so why reach your hands into the affairs of others? Wei Wuxian is on our side. Are you trying to punish our own people? Wei Wuxian regained his composure. That's right. As long as the Wen dogs are killed, what do you care about how I kill them? Ever since they were children, they would chime in with whatever the other was saying, and here they were again, flawlessly filling in for each other. Pardon my bluntness, but even if we were to pursue the matter, Wei Wuxian isn't a member of your clan. It's not the Land Clan's place to punish him, Jung Chung added. Of all the people he might go back with, it won't be you. Oh shit! Okay, yeah, calling each other by their actual names, or the courtesy names, And then Jung Chung being like, fuck you, Lam Wonji. How dare you? He's never gonna pick you. Shit. This is so crazy in comparison to where we're at in the current timeline, where Lam Wonji is running away with Wei Wuxian, and Wei Wuxian's like, oh my god, I think I'm in love with him. He's always by my side, no matter what. Oh, that's crazy. Of all the people he might go back with, it won't be with you. At this, Lan Wangji's expression froze. He glanced up at Wei Wuxian, his throat trembling as he swallowed. Before he could reply, Wen Chao let loose a feeble scream from the corner. That sucks because he couldn't even explain himself. Wei Wuxian and Jung Chung's attention immediately shifted. They simultaneously stepped around Lan Wangji and came to stand before Wen Julio and Wen Chao. Wen Julio was still suspended in the air by Zidian and struggling in a miserable agony, while Wen Chao, more dead than alive, slowly opened his eyes to see the two faces looking down on him from above. The two faces were both similarly young and similarly familiar. Both had once shown him an expression of despair, anguish, or deep-seated hatred, and now they looked commandingly down at him with similarly cold, glinting eyes, bearing similarly ominous sneers. Wen Chao stopped trying to scream or escape. He dumbly held up his fingerless hands and began to drool. Wei Wuxian kicked him into kneeling in the direction of Yun Meng. His exposed flesh and bones chafed against one another, causing Wen Chao to emit shrill shrieks of pain that sounded particularly jarring in the empty post station. Why is his voice so shrill? Jung Chung asked. He's missing a certain body part, Wei Wuxian answered. Of course it's shrill. You cut it off? Jung Chung wondered in revulsion. It's a bit gross that you'd assume that, Wei Wuxian commented. Of course I didn't. That woman of his bit it off when she went mad. Oh my god. Ugh. There he is, in all his crazy sexiness. Damn. Hi, RW. Love the deep V. Lan Wangji was still standing behind them, watching. Wei Wuxian suddenly remembered his presence and turned around with a smile. The following scene may not be suitable for Lan Argongza's eyes. Won't you please step away for a moment? Although he said please, his tone brooked no argument. Jung Chung agreed with polite and professional detachment. Indeed, Lan Argongza, Wen Chao and Wen Julio have fallen into our hands. The mission is accomplished. It's time we part ways. What comes next is a family matter. It's best if you head back. Damn. That's crazy to say to your future brother-in-law. Lan Wangji's gaze was still locked on Wei Wuxian, but Wei Wuxian's attention had been captured by his enemies, who were now at death's door. He stared at Wen Chao and Wen Julio with gleaming eyes, and his smile was both cruel and excited. Jung Chung wore the same expression. They had lost themselves in the overwhelming pleasure of revenge, and neither was in the mood to placate an outsider. After a while, Lan Wangji turned around and headed downstairs. He stepped out of the post station and kept watch by the entrance for a long time, but he never left. Ah! Jung Chung's tits! CSCL, thank you for your donation. Page 192. Look at that man. What was Lan Wangji supposed to do? Not swoon? Fan self. Yeah, honestly. This man comes out, I mean, but then you see what he's doing and like how he's like, you're gonna go crazy. It's gonna be so bad. Please come back with me. And they're like, you're gonna fucking arrest me? Fuck you, Lan Argongza. And then Jung Chung comes in and is like, yeah, fuck you, Lan Argongza. It's so sad that... Oh yeah, he is holding a hand down here. Is it a ghost hand? It's so sad that, like, the small times we've been able to see Zheng Cheng and Wei Wuxian, like, agree with each other is when they're putting Lan Wangji down. That's so sad. Sometime later, a long, shrill howl pierced the silent night. Lan Wangji looked up. His white robe and forehead ribbon flapped in the frigid wind. The black night had passed, and the sun in the sky was about to rise, and the sun on Earth was about to set. Ooh, MXTX cooked with that one! Okay. That's the end of that flashback. Now we're on chapter 14. Ill Wind. Oh no, that was Ill Winds. This one's called Soft. Lan Zhan, Wei Wuxian murmured. He reached out and grabbed one of Lan Zhan's sleeves. Lan Wangji, who had been keeping watch by his side, immediately leaned over to answer him softly. I am here. Wei Wuxian was not quite awake. His eyes were tightly shut, but his grip on Lan Wangji did not loosen. He seemed to be dreaming and mumbling in his sleep. Don't be mad. Lan Wangji was slightly taken aback. In a gentle voice, he replied, I am not. Oh, Wei Wuxian murmured. He seemed to be reassured by hearing that and released his grip. Lan Wangji sat down by Wei Wuxian's side. When Wei Wuxian had stilled once more, he made to get up, but was stopped by Wei Wuxian grabbing hold of him again. Wei Wuxian clung to his arm and pleaded urgently. I'll return with you. Hurry up and take me back home with you. Lan Wangji's eyes widened. Oh my god, I can't believe we get that right here. Right after the Gusu part. We get to see the future him being like, I'll go. Oh my god. Wei Wuxian seemed to have woken himself up with that shout. His long lashes fluttered and he slowly opened his eyes. The dazed confusion in his eyes gradually cleared, and he suddenly realized he was clinging to Lan Wangji with both arms like he were a lifeline or a driftwood in water. He immediately withdrew his hands and made to roll away, but the exaggerated movement aggravated the wound on his abdomen. He muttered an ouch and wrinkled his brow, only now remembering that he was still wounded. His vision flared with sparks from the pain and faces flashed before his eyes. Jin Ling, Zheng Cheng, Zhang Yanli, Zhang Fengmian, Madame Yu. Lan Wangji held him down to steady him. Your stomach wound? Wound? I'm fine. It doesn't hurt. Lan Wangji firmly held him down and loosened his robes. His abdomen had been properly bandaged, but Lan Wangji unraveled them to check the injuries beneath. Surprisingly enough, the wound had already healed. When Lan Wangji checked his leg, the curse mark there had vanished as well. How long have I been out? Wei Wuxian asked. Lan Wangji released him only after confirming that his wound was indeed fine. 4 days. Oh my god. Jinling's aim had been unerring, and the wound hadn't been shallow either. That the injury had healed without leaving the slightest scar was all thanks to the top-grade medicinal pills of the Lan clan. Wei Wuxian gave his thanks and followed up with a self-deprecating jibe. I might have been reborn, but this new body is so fragile. One little stab and I'm laid low. Anyone would be laid low if they were run through by a sword, Lan Wangji replied evenly. Not necessarily, Wei Wuxian stated. Had I been in my old body, even if half my intestines were hanging out, I'd be able to stuff them back in and continue brawling for another 300 rounds. Seeing him spouting such nonsense so soon after waking, Lan Wangji shook his head. He turned away and assumed he was going to leave. Wei Wuxian quickly called out for him. Lan Zhan, don't go! I was babbling nonsense. My bad. Don't ignore me. You are afraid of being ignored? Yes. It'd been a long time since he last experienced someone watching over him as he slept off an injury. Lan Wangji wore 2 swords at his waist. He removed Sui Bian and handed it to him. Your sword. Wei Wuxian was briefly taken aback at the sight of the sword. After a pause, he said, Thank you. He grasped the hilt and slowly drew the shining blade, which reflected a pair of eyes. Wei Wuxian stared at the pair of eyes for a moment, then inserted Sui Bian back into its sheath. Did it really seal itself off? Lan Wangji also grasped the hilt of Sui Bian and pulled, but it didn't budge in the slightest. Wei Wuxian sighed and patted the sword. I knew it. Jing Guanyao wouldn't dare make something like that up without thinking it through. I can't believe it really sealed itself off. It just had to be the one to experience. I just had to be the one to experience this kind of 1 in a million event. Just great. This is conclusive evidence. Whoever pulls out the sword must be Wei Wuxian, period. I couldn't deny it even if I wanted to. Wei Wuxian and Shailian getting stabbed. Oh god. He looked around. They were in a simple, tidy room lit only by a single paper lantern in a corner. Where is this? Wei Wuxian asked. The cloud recesses, Lan Wangji replied. You took me back to the cloud recesses? What if your brother finds out? I already have! A man dressed in white and wearing a forehead ribbon walked out from behind the screen. His face was like beautiful jade, and his expression was solemn. Wei Wuxian had yet to be arrested by the Jin clan of Lanling, despite spending 4 days recuperating in the cloud recesses, so it could be reasonably assumed Lan Xichen didn't pose a threat. It's really crazy juxtaposing this scene with the previous scene, because even now Wei Wuxian's like, oh fuck, like, I'm criminal number 1 and I'm in the cloud recesses and Lan Xichen is fucking Jing Guanyao and Jing Guanyao's out for me, so like, am I getting arrested? Am I in jail? And once again, it's showing actually Cloud Recesses is actually a safe place for evil people. The Cloud Recesses, a safe haven for evil little guys if we are in love with you. Miss Malice says, it's all good, I'm the cool older brother who supports your life choices. Lan Xichen trying to keep this a secret from Jiggy, right? Oh god. CSCL, why would you do this to me? Swabian, for the lols. Oh. Also, Lan Wangji was by his side, so Wei Wuxian wasn't wary. He suddenly recalled an important matter. Where is Qi Fengzhen's body? The sects all saw Dagao's body with their own eyes, Lan Xichen said. At present, it is in Huaisong's custody. I have also sent people I can trust to look after it. Wei Wuxian felt slightly reassured. And Jing Guanyao's reaction? Flawless, Lan Wangji confirmed. And Jing Guanyao's reaction? Flawless. Like, Lan Wangji's like, he's such a fucking little liar motherfucker. And Lan Xichen's like, let's not say that. Maybe his reaction was so very truthful. I love that Lan Wangji's not holding it back. He's like, fuck that guy. He's a fucking liar. And Lan Xichen like, we don't know for sure. Ugh. Orion says, I love how they have 2 bits of evidence and they're like, God, this fake bitch. Literally. Oh my god. Wei Wuxian had known that Jing Guanyao would put on a perfect act. It wasn't worth worrying about, as long as there was no way he could destroy the body to get rid of the evidence. He said that he will get to the bottom of the matter and that he will provide us all with an explanation, Lan Xichen stated slowly. And since Wei Gongsu has now come around, Wangji, should you not provide me with an explanation as well? Oh my god, he's like, so, it seems my boyfriend may be a murderer, okay? Maybe it seems that way, but you have one too, so don't be acting all fucking judgy now. That's so funny. Lan Wangji rose to his feet. Shangzheng. Lan Xichen heaved a long sigh. Wangji, what am I to do with you? Shangzheng, Lan Wangji said, it is a fact that Qi Fengzhen's head is in Jing Guanyao's possession. You personally saw it? Lan Xichen asked. Oh, brother, come on. He did. You believe him? Lan Xichen asked. I do. Lan Wangji answered without the slightest hint of hesitation. Wei Wuxian felt warmth bloom in his heart. Then Lan Xichen asked, "What about Jing Guanyao?" "He is untrustworthy," Lan Wangji stated. Lan Xichen chuckled. "And how do you judge a person to be trustworthy, Wangji?" He looked at Wei Wuxian. This scene is so... Oh my god. Oh my god. I love Lan Xichen so much. He's so smitten for Jing Guanyao. It's so fucking sad. Oh god. Jing Guanyao has the best fucking little buddy. Mary B says, I just love it. Me too. Me too. Dude, it's Vero says, what's happening? I don't get it. So... Lan Xichen and Jing Guanyao were really, really good friends. Jing Guanyao made an incredible effort in the war, and he went undercover for the Wens and actually ended up killing Wen Rohan and was revered as a war hero. And the truth is, and Wei Wuxian saw the truth, that Jing Guanyao has Ni Mingjui's head, which means he is definitely guilty of something, right? He is, because they're chasing after these dismembered body parts, and they're trying to figure out who's behind it. Well, the head is in Jing Guanyao's possession, so some fuckery is pointing to Jing Guanyao, right? They're trying to figure out what's happening with that. So the only person that found out the head was in Jing Guanyao's possession was Wei Wuxian, and of course Lan Wangji believes him because they're together now. But Lan Xichen doesn't want to believe that because he doesn't want to believe that his best friend, Jing Guanyao, could possibly be involved with anything nefarious. Like, he sees him as a war hero. He sees him as, like, someone he can trust 100%. Like, why would he ever be involved with something nefarious like this, right? And so now Lan Xichen is putting the burden on Lan Wangji, being like, well, you are best friends with Wei Wuxian, who is also an untrustworthy figure, and now I'm just supposed to act like this is fine and he's to be trusted, while you accuse my best friend of being evil? Like, let's talk about how you're fucking friends with Wei Wuxian right now. So, it's very, very, very juicy. So Lan Xichen saying, and how do you judge a person to be trustworthy, Wangji, is very bitchy. He looked at Wei Wuxian. You trust Wei Gongse, but I trust Jing Guanyao. Neither of us personally witnessed whether Daga's head is in his possession. We rely entirely on our own understanding of another, our own trust in their words. You think you understand Wei Wuxian, and that is why you trust him. I also think I understand Jing Guanyao, and therefore trust him. You trust your own judgment. Why can I not trust my own judgment too? Unfortunately, us as the reader, we got to see the truth, which is that Wei Wuxian did see his head. Like, so yeah, he spelled it out right there. Like, Lan Wangji is trusting Wei Wuxian's judgment, but Lan Xichen is trusting Jing Guanyao's judgment. Darla says, cause you're bad at it. Wei Wuxian, worried that the two brothers would quarrel because of this, quickly interjected, Sect Leader Lan! It wasn't that he couldn't understand Lan Xichen's feelings. He had seen Jing Guanyao from Ni Mingjui's perspective and witnessed all his treachery, cunning, and ambition. But if Jing Guanyao had worn a mask in front of Lan Xichen for all these years, then there was no reason for Lan Xichen to distrust his own sworn brother in favor of someone who was notorious for bloody deeds. Yeah. Like, Wei Wuxian saw firsthand how good of a liar Jing Guanyao is. So, it's hard for him to explain to Lan Xichen, like, if Jiggy wanted to hide something from you, he could. Lan Xichen nodded. Wei Gongse, there's no need for you to worry. I will not be partial to any one side until the truth is uncovered, nor will I reveal your whereabouts. Otherwise, I would not have allowed Wanji to bring you to my wintry room or helped treat your injuries. Oh shit, they're in his room? That's tough. It's really tough because I feel like Lan Xichen knows. I feel like he knows the truth, but it's just so painful to admit it. You know? Like, why else would he be so kind to Wei Wuxian? Many thanks to Sect Leader Lan for giving me a chance, Wei Wuxian said. Qi Fengzheng's head is in Jing Guanyao's secret chamber. That's the honest truth. Not only did I see the head, but I was also assaulted by its aura of resentment and saw some other stuff in the process. I wonder if any of that could be considered proof. With composure, Lan Xichen said, Wei Gongse, perhaps you did indeed see some things, but you cannot prove that you saw them in the secret chamber of Golden Carp Tower. That's true, Wei Wuxian grunted. Then let me say something else. Qi Fengzhen's direct cause of death certainly was qi deviation, but Sect Leader Lan, don't you think the timing was too great a coincidence? The Saber Spirit's influence is one thing, but did you ever consider that there could be other causes behind it? And what might those causes be, do you think? Lan Xichen asked. Jing Guanyao being such a little shit to piss him off every single day until he exploded, pretty much. What might those causes be, do you think? Lan Xichen asked. A spiritual song for purification, Wei Wuxian said. Wei Gongse, Lan Xichen said. Are you aware that I personally taught Jing Guanyao how to play that song of purification? In that case, I'd like to ask Sect Leader Lan to listen and see if there's anything off about this melody. This is so good. This is so good. His flute was right there at the head of the bed, so Wei Wuxian picked it up. He lowered his head and thought for a moment before he began to play. Once the song was over, he asked, Sect Leader Lan, is this really the song that you taught Jing Guanyao? It is, Lan Xichen confirmed. Wei Wuxian was a little surprised, but he kept his cool. What's it called? This piece is called Cleansing, Lan Xichen answered. It can purify the heart and calm the mind. Cleansing, Wei Wuxian echoed. I've listened to plenty of famous songs from around the cultivation world, so why have I never heard this name or its melody before? The piece is obscure, Lan Wangji said, and difficult to learn. Precisely, Lan Xichen agreed. Did Jing Guanyao specifically ask to learn this piece? Wei Wuxian asked. Correct, Lan Xichen confirmed. Is it really that hard to learn? Wei Wuxian wondered. Then why did Jing Guanyao pick it and not something easier? Because I told him that even though cleansing is hard to learn, it is of the utmost effectiveness, Lan Xichen explained. And yes, the piece is indeed tricky. Did Wei Gongse not just play one of the sections incorrectly? Something clicked in Wei Wuxian's mind when he heard this. I played it wrong? There was a section in the middle that was incorrect, Lan Wangji confirmed. Wei Wuxian laughed. No, it wasn't me who was wrong. It was Jing Guanyao. That was definitely what he played during the assault of resentful energy. I guarantee you that I replayed that version without a single mistake. Lan Xichen was astonished. Then he was the one who learned it wrong? That is impossible. That's true indeed, Wei Wuxian said. Lan Fengzhen is awfully smart and has an excellent memory. How could he have misremembered the melody? I'm afraid it's most likely intentional. I'll play it again. Sect Leader Lan, Hang Guanzhen. This time, please listen carefully to the incorrect bit. He played the song again. When he neared the end of the second section, Lan Wangji said, Stop. It is the section you just played, Lan Xichen said. Wei Wuxian withdrew the flute from his lips. Really? It doesn't sound out of place to me. It certainly is not discordant, Lan Xichen agreed, but it does not form part of cleansing. This part is so cool. I just love that music is such a large part of the plot. Like, it's such a cool way. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Yeah, literally. Ugh. How can Wei Wuxian remember the music after hearing it once but can't remember shit else? And then Miss Malice says he's a selective prodigy. Okay, also, I just have to say I love the Untamed. And I fucking love the cleansing song. But if you go on YouTube, like after this, go on YouTube and go listen to the cleansing song. It is like normal cleansing music, but then when it gets to like the incorrect part, it is like evil minor notes. Like it's so obviously out of place. Like it's bow now now now. Like it's like, oh yeah, that's the part that's evil and totally different. It definitely sounds fucking discordant. Orion, Lan Xichen be like, I wonder why he's playing evil music. Oh well. It's important to solo, to freestyle every now and then in a musician's journey. Okay, this art's so cool. I love the mystery and puzzle of this. It's so good. I feel like this would be something really good in like an escape room. Like if there was a fucking Motozushi, it doesn't even have to be Motozushi theme, but like an escape room where it's like, you're playing this melody, like you gotta play it properly, and you get to listen to the melody, and then like in the next room, it's like, here's the melody, and then like something happens and you have to fix the portion of the melody that's like different. I don't know, that'd be cool. If it had been an ordinary mistake, it would have not have blended so seamlessly with the rest of the original melody, like milk and water. This particular revision must have been deliberately polished before its inclusion, and the unfamiliar melody that had crept its way into cleansing was very possibly the key to Ni Mingjue's death. Lan Xichen thought for a moment, then said, "Both of you, come with me." As they stepped out of the house, Wei Wuxian was slightly taken aback. It was a small and secluded cottage located in some hidden corner of the cloud recesses. Is this where Lan Xichen had, like, planned to bring Jingguan Yao? The Lan clan's residence was situated deep in the mountains, and its territory was capped by towering pine trees. They lived in Vancouver, British Columbia. Most of the scenery consisted of lush green trees and eupatorium grass. There were some flowers, but they were all simple, elegant varieties such as magnolias, gardenias, and white chrysanthemums, and even then they were rare and fleeting sights, serving mainly as occasional ornaments. But the area around this cottage was abundant with purple gentians. The flowers were dainty and delicate, and their color was vivid and captivating, capable of ensnaring the hearts of all who wandered there. They seemed to emit a faint glow under the night's dark sky. The sight was beautiful, like a dream, an illusion. Wei Wuxian felt there must be something special about this place, but he was only able to take a quick glance, not examine it in detail. High time had already passed, and most of the cloud recesses had retired for the night. It was incomparably still and silent, and as Lan Xichen led them to the library pavilion, they did not encounter a single soul. Okay, chat, what do we think of this? There's no flowers in all of fucking Gusu, but there are abundant purple gentians. What do the purple gentians mean? Do those flowers have a special meaning? And this is Lan Xichen's special little house. I'm looking it up. They represent justice, victory, and determination. What do they mean Chinese? Okay, there's a Tumblr. They mainly symbolize loving someone despite their grief or melancholy. Okay, we're on multiple different Gentian websites. To feel compassion for your sorrow, gentian being a late bloomer, add beauty to your garden far into the fall. Being a lovely perennial reflecting its natural home in alpine meadows, it draws attention because it's as beautiful as a picture. Red rose and lilies depict love and solemnity, while flower meaning of the gentian is to have sympathy for your pain. Damn, these fucking land boys are so traumatized. Man, that's so sad about their mom. Yeah, like, oh, like having sympathy for your own pain. That's like, oh, that's mature shit. Damn. Lan Xichen's sad fucking little house. The cloud recesses had once been burnt to the ground. While the library pavilion was no longer the one of the past, its layout was no different from the original after its reconstruction. Even the magnolia tree outside the pavilion had been planted anew. The three entered the pavilion, and Wei Wuxian voiced his doubt. Sect Leader Lan, can we find the source of that melody here? What is that melody? Not here, Lan Xichen said. He walked to a particular row of bookshelves and crouched down to lift a mat that covered a wooden panel. But here, yes, I just know, Lan Xichen. It gets such a sick little thrill of being like, no, we're going to the secret level of the library. Ugh. A secret door lay beneath the wooden panel. The room of forbidden books, Lama Ji explained. Like, imagine the land boys being like, the room of forbidden books! Under the secret door was a dark staircase that went on for more than 50 steps. The three descended the dark steps, and a dry, spacious underground stone chamber materialized before Wei Wuxian's eyes. The sound of their footsteps resonated hollowly. Rows and rows of bookshelves towered in the room of forbidden books. Sorted, dusty books lay sparsely on the shelves. It was clear no one had flipped through them for many years. Lan Xichen brought them to a particular shelf. All the books in this section are records of unusual music scores. And all the books in this section are, yaoi with short men with little hats on. There was a single desk in the room of forbidden books, which had only one paper lamp on it. Lawanji took the papers and brushes that had been untouched for many years from the shelf and made 3 copies of the score for the altered section of the cleansing from memory. The 3 of them sat around the desk and divided the work, with each responsible for a few dozen books. Book after book, page after page, they compared the melodies listed in the forbidden books to the transcribed section, looking for anything that matched. After 4 hours, the 3 had still not found anything that matched that section of the song. In other words, they were unsuccessful in finding its source. As Wei Wuxian quickly scanned the scores, he thought, don't tell me there's no record of this song, even in the music section of the Land Library Pavilion's Room of Forbidden Books? That can't be. Even if the Land Clan doesn't have it in their collection, it's impossible anyone else would have it. Jing Guanyao couldn't have composed his own magical melody, could he? It'll be a pain if that's the case. Unless we can find someone to test it by listening to it for months straight, we won't be able to prove there's anything fishy about it. But although he's clever, he was never trained in this kind of thing. He can't have been clever enough to compose his own. After having stared at tiny, tightly packed words for so long, Wei Wuxian's vision was getting a little blurry. He had several books still left in his stack, so he planned on coming back to them after he took a short break. Lan Wangji had already finished reviewing his own pile. He quietly took the books that Wei Wuxian had set aside and lowered his head as he continued to flip through them. Lan Xichen witnessed this scene when he glanced up. He seemed to want to say something, but ultimately held himself back. Lan Xichen was like, "Man, you guys look pretty cute like that. Sure wish my little guy was here to help us with this investigation. Damn it, we're investigating my little guy! Ah!" Just then, Lan Wangji said, "This one." He passed over the book he held. Wei Wuxian promptly perked up. He eagerly looked over the 2 pages Lan Wangji had presented to him, comparing it to the fragmentary score in his hands. It's not the same at all? Lan Wangji moved to sit down beside him and point out the detail he'd spotted. Consider these pages in sequence. With their heads so close together, Lan Wangji's voice was right next to his ear, low and magnetic. Oh my god, this is not the time to be getting horny. Holy shit. Wei Wuxian's hand trembled slightly and the book nearly slipped from his grip. With some difficulty, he collected himself and forced himself to tear his eyes away from Lan Wangji's long, fair, slender fingers. Oh my god, he is getting turned on by this. He carefully compared the pages before him. Oh, the front and back. At first glance, there didn't seem to be anything strange about the pages, but if those familiar with music were to pay close attention, they would notice that the tune on one page did not connect to the tune on the next. Wei Wuxian took out his flute and followed along with the score. Sure enough, the 2 melodies were disconnected. The half score on the previous page did not belong to the same piece as the half score on the next. There should have been another page between the 2. Someone had very carefully torn it out without leaving any traces behind. The removal had been extremely meticulous. Not a single shred of the page remained, making it difficult to notice. Wei Wuxian flipped the book over to see its title. 4 words marked the book's dark blue cover. Evil fucking songs to kill a sect leader. He read the title aloud. Collection of Spiritual Turmoil. The original Chinese for this book's title uses the term Po for spirit. I knew that from Zelda. In Chinese philosophy, every living human has 2 types of soul. The Hun soul is associated... The Hun thing from... The Hun Moon from K-pop Demon Hunters? The Hun soul is associated with Yang energy and leaves the body after death. The Po soul is associated with Yin energy and remains with the body of the deceased. Okay. What is this book? The pieces in here sound a little weird. A collection of secret songs from Dongying, Lan Wangji explained. From Dongying? Wei Wuxian echoed. No wonder they don't sound like anything from over here. Lan Xichen wore a complicated expression. It has been said that the collection of spirit turmoil was compiled by a disciple of the Lan clan of Gusu during his years spent wandering Dongying after drifting there by boat. It is a collection of wicked songs. If one were to infuse spiritual energy into any of these pieces in this book while playing them, the songs could be used to do harm to others. One could make them waste away, drive them to erasable moods, agitate their vital energy, lose their 5 senses. Those possessing great spiritual power could even end a person's life with 7 notes. That sounds like such a fucking, legend. Legend has it, there's even a song that can kill a man in 7 notes. Wei Wuxian smacked the desk. This is it! In his moment of joy, the blow almost knocked over the paper lantern on the desk. A keen-eyed Lan Wangji deftly caught it in time. Sect Leader Lan, is there a song in the collection of spiritual turmoil that can disturb someone's mind, agitate their primordial spirit, unsettle their vital energy, and make them easily prone to anger? Wei Wuxian asked. There should be, Lan Xichen granted. Jingguanyao's spiritual power isn't high enough to take someone's life within 7 notes, and that method is far too conspicuous anyways. He wouldn't choose a song that kills directly. Wei Wuxian worked out his thoughts out loud. But he'd definitely play the "I'm gonna annoy you a tiny bit every single day" song to kill him for sure. But if he spent 3 straight months playing spiritual purification music under the pretext of helping Qifengzeng calm his mind, then it is possible for such a song to act as a catalyst for Qifengzeng's eventual outburst, like a slow-acting poison. Yes, Lan Xichen answered. Then, Wei Wuxian continued, my deduction makes sense. The section that didn't belong to cleansing came from the lost page of the collection of spiritual turmoil. All the wicked songs of Dong Yin documented in the collection of spirit turmoil are complicated and hard to learn. He didn't have time to copy it out in the room of forbidden books, so he had no other option but to tear. No, that's not right. Jing Guanyao can memorize something with a single glance. He tore the page out not because he wouldn't be able to recall it, but because he didn't want to leave proof behind, to ensure that, if his scheme was unraveled one day, or if he was caught red-handed, there would be no way to determine the song's origin. Everything he's ever done, he's done with extreme caution. He played the real version of cleansing when you were present. Xifeng Zun wasn't a man who was interested in artistic pursuits, but he had a basic impression of the melody from hearing sect leader Lan play it. Because of that, Jing Guanyao didn't dare play the wicked song outright. Instead, he went to significant trouble to fuse two tunes with very different styles and completely opposite effects. To think he could knit them into a seamless whole, his musical talent is outstanding. My guess is that he infused very little spiritual energy while playing cleansing, but went all out when he got to the bit from the collection of spiritual turmoil. Xifeng Zun wasn't familiar with this cultivation technique. He would have never been able to tell that cleansing had been altered by Jing Guanyao into a deadly, diabolical ditty. Not the deadly, diabolical ditty! Oh shit. After a long stretch of silence, Lan Xichen said quietly, although he frequents the cloud recesses, I have never told him of the library pavilion's room of forbidden books. Sect leader Lan, Wei Wuxian said, excuse me for being blunt, but Lan Fenzun was an undercover agent in the Wen clan of Qishen's Nightless City during the Sunshot campaign, and an exceptional one at that. He was able to find Wen Rohan's secret chamber and sneak into it unnoticed to memorize all the maps and records there, then transcribe the information from memory to send back to Golden Carp Tower. To him, the Land Library's Pavilion Room of Forbidden Books really is nothing. Lan Xichen stared at the fragmented melody in his hand for a moment, then said, I will think of a way to test this. Xichen, Lan Wangji asked. When Daga passed away, the siege of the burial mounds had already concluded and Wei Gongsu was no longer with us, Lan Xichen said. If the tests prove your deductions to be true and not a fabrication, if they prove this fragmented score is capable of disturbing the mind, Zewu Jun, Wei Wuxian said. Testing a wicked song on a living person probably goes against the Lan clan's precepts. I will test it on myself, Lan Xichen stated. Oh my god. As the head of the Lan clan of Gusu, to say something so preposterous made it obvious his mind was in turmoil. Lan Wangji raised his voice slightly. Xichen! Lan Xichen pressed his hand to his forehead. Wangji, he said quietly, sounding pained. The Jing Guanyao I know is a completely different person from the Jing Guanyao the two of you know, and the Jing Guanyao the rest of the world knows. All these years, he has always suffered in silence to do his duty. He cares about all living beings. He is respectful of his superiors and compassionate to his subordinates. I have always firmly believed that the world's denunciation of him is born from misunderstanding, and the person I know is the real him. You want me to believe that everything this man has shown me has been a lie? That he plotted to kill one of his own sworn brothers? And that I was a pawn in his scheme who even lent him a helping hand? Would you please allow me the chance to exercise some prudence before passing judgment? It really is so fucking sad. Lan Xichen had been mindful of the bad blood between Ni Mingjue and Jing Guanyao, wanting them to bury the hatchet and reconcile. That was why he had taught Jing Guanyao purification music and asked him to calm Ni Mingjue's heart and mind on his behalf. Who could possibly have predicted that his good intentions would play into Jing Guanyao's schemes? How was he to live with himself? The three did not speak again. It was only after they left the library pavilion that Lan Wangji broke the silence. I will go see Shufu. Lan Xichen had been quiet, but replied to this. I will take Wei Gongzi back. You may join us later. He led Wei Wuxian along the cloud recess's white stone paths back to the small, remote, gentian-surrounded cottage deep in the recesses of the clouds. Does Lan Shansheng know that Hangguanzhen? Wei Wuxian asked when they reached the door. Shufu has only just awoken, Lan Xichen replied. I instructed everyone not to tell him too much. If Lan Qiren found out what he and Lan Wangji had done at Golden Carp Tower, he'd surely be rendered comatose with fury once more after only just waking. It's been tough on Lan Lao Qianbei, Wei Wuxian said. It has indeed been tough on Shufu, Lan Xichen agreed. Out of the blue, he asked, Wei Gongzi, do you know what this house is? Why does Zewujun think I'd know? Wei Wuxian asked curiously. Lan Xichen glanced at him. This was once my mother's residence in the cloud recesses. Of course, his mother was Lan Wangji's mother, too. Wei Wuxian found this rather strange. The heads of the Lan clan of Gusu traditionally took the wintry room as their residence, which was a far cry from this small cottage tucked away in the nook of the cloud recesses. Could it be that Lan Wangji's parents lived separately because they were like Zhang Fengmian and Madame Yu, an incompatible pair in a forced marriage? No matter how you considered it, there couldn't have been a pleasant reason for why the family head and mistress didn't live together. The wife of Qingheng Jun, the previous head of the Lan clan of Gusu, was said to have been frail and perpetually in a convalescent state, which made it inadvisable for her to host guests. People knew very little about her to begin with, and so everyone privately speculated that this illness might be a front for something too disgraceful to be seen in public, such as a disfigurement or a disability. As such, it wasn't Wei Wuxian's place to pry. He held his tongue and waited for Lan Xichen to speak on his own terms. Wei Gongzi, Lan Xichen started. You are probably aware that my father was in seclusion year-round and paid no attention to the affairs of the secular world. The Lan clan of Gusu was managed by my Shufu almost single-handedly all those years. That I know, Wei Wuxian confirmed. Lan Xichen lowered the hand holding Li Bang. Both disappeared under the white sleeve. It was because of my mother that my father was in seclusion year-round, he continued slowly. Rather than calling this place a residence, one might call it a prison. Wei Wuxian was stunned. Qingheng Jun, the father of Zewujun and Hangguanzhen, was once a renowned cultivator with an impressive reputation. He made a name for himself in his youth, but when he came of age at 20, he suddenly abandoned all his pursuits, announced his marriage, and stopped concerning himself with the affairs of the secular world. While the official reason put forward was seclusion, it was in truth more like retirement. Many potential reasons were discussed in gossip, but none had ever been confirmed. Lan Xichen leaned down to a gentian bush and gently stroked the thin, delicate petals. My father encountered my mother in his youth outside the city of Gusu on the way back from a night hunt, he smiled. Apparently it was love at first sight. Wei Wuxian smiled as well. Young people are a romantic bunch. But she did not reciprocate his feelings, Lan Xichen continued. And then she killed one of my father's mentors. This was completely beyond imagining. Wei Wuxian knew it was rude to probe further, but when he considered that these were Lan Wangji's parents, he felt he had to ask. Why? I do not know, Lan Xichen admitted, but I suppose it must come down to the debts of gratitude and the grudges between them. It would be inappropriate to keep prying. Wei Wuxian forced down his curiosity. So what happened after that? After that, Lan Xichen resumed, when my father learned the truth, he was naturally anguished, but after much struggle, he nonetheless secretly brought her back here. Disregarding the clan's objections, not speaking so much as a word to them, he bowed to the heavens and to the earth with her in wedding rites. He then told everyone in the clan that she was his wife for life, and that anyone who wanted to lay a finger on her had to first pass through him. Wei Wuxian's eyes widened. Once the ceremony concluded, my father found a cottage and confined my mother within, Lan Xichen continued. He then found another place for himself and confined himself in turn. He called it seclusion, but in truth, it was self-reflection. He asked after a brief pause, Wei Gongzi, can you understand his actions? Wei Wuxian was quiet for a moment before he offered an answer. He couldn't bring himself to forgive the murderer who killed his mentor, and he couldn't bring himself to watch the woman he loved die. He married her to save her life and then forced himself to be apart from her. Do you think that was the right thing to do? Lan Xichen asked. I don't know. Lan Xichen appeared slightly at a loss. Then what do you think was the right thing to do? I don't know. After a while, Lan Xichen said quietly, It could be said that my father completely disregarded the consequences of his actions. The clan elders were enraged, but they had all watched him grow up. In the end, there was nothing they could do but keep it a secret and hint to outsiders that the mistress of the Lan clan of Gusu had an unmentionable illness and was thus indisposed to host guests. When Wanji and I were born, they immediately removed us and put us in the care of others. Once we were old enough, we were handed over to our shufu to be taught and raised. It's so sad because Lan Xichen is clearly finding himself in the position of his father now. And being like, well, do I trap Jing Guanyao and bring him here? Do you think that's the right thing to do, Wei Wuxian? And Wei Wuxian's like, bro, I cannot answer that question for you. And also, of course, we know this is what Lan Wangji would have tried to do earlier, you know? Ugh. Guy said, Lan Xichen getting peer review so he can decide if he should lock up his little guy as well. Literally. It's just so sad that it's like he actually clearly wanted to hear Wei Wuxian's opinion on it, and Wei Wuxian was just like, I don't know. I don't know. My shufu is frank and upright by nature. Because my mother's crimes caused my father to destroy his own life, he came to particularly loathe those who behaved with such disregard. For that reason, he was particularly strict when raising Wanji and I. We could only see our mother once a month in this little cottage. Every day, those two young children had faced their stern shufu, strict teachings, and mountains of books. No matter how tired or weary they were, they had to keep their young backs straight and be the most exemplary juniors in the family, role models in the eyes of others. They were forbidden from growing up alongside their closest kin. They couldn't horse around in their father's arms, and they couldn't be cuddled and spoiled by their mother's embrace. But the two children had clearly done nothing wrong. Every time Wanji and I visited her, she never complained about how dreary it was to be so confined, with her freedom so restricted, Lan Xichen said, and she never asked about our studies. She particularly loved to tease Wanji, but you know him, of course. The more you tease him, the more he clams up, and the sourer his face gets. He had always been that way, ever since he was a child. However, he chuckled. Although Wanji never said much, I knew he spent every month waiting for the day he got to see Mother. That was how he was. That was how I was. And I love that this also just kind of confirms that, like, even though he's unable to react to teasing in a positive manner, he likes it. His mother used to tease him, and he loved it, you know? Even though he would clam up. Wei Wuxian teases him, and he loves it, even though he acts all angry. Aww. Wei Wuxian imagined a young Lan Wangji being held in his mother's embrace, with his little snow-white face flushed pink. He laughed as well, but before their laughter dispersed, Lan Xichen continued his tale. But one day, Shufu told us that we need not go anymore. Mother was gone. How old was Lan Zhan at that time? Wei Wuxian asked quietly. 6, Lan Xichen replied. He was too young to understand what gone meant. No matter how much others consoled him or how Shufu scolded him, he continued to come here every month and sit under the veranda, waiting for someone to open the door. Even when he grew older and came to understand that Mother would never come back, that no one would ever open the door again, he would still come. So sad. Oh. That is so sad. Oh my god. He has had that unwavering hope and devotion in him since day one. Lan Xichen stood up, his dark eyes staring directly at Wei Wuxian. Wanji has always been very stubborn, ever since he was young. Leaves rustled. The congregation of gentians around the cottage swayed affectionately with the wind. Wei Wuxian's gaze landed on the wooden veranda of the small cottage. He could almost see a young child in a forehead ribbon sitting all prim and proper in front of the house, waiting in silence for the door to open. Madame Lan must have been a very gentle woman, he said. The mother in my memories was certainly so, Lan Xichen said. I do not know her reasons for having committed such a deed back then, and in fact, He inhaled deeply and then confessed, I have no wish to know. After a long silence, Lan Xichen lowered his eyes and took out Li Bing. You know, I think that says a lot about his character, and maybe even if he ever had doubts about Jing Guanyao, he would rather just not know, you know? And it's like, that's why he's not the protagonist, you know? That's a huge, like, flaw in his character, is that it might be too painful to find out the truth, and he'd rather just not know, you know? Ugh. A gust of night wind elicited a murmur from the Xiao, low and heavy like a sigh. This is so sad. This is so sad for him. Wei Wuxian had heard Lan Xichen play Li Bing before. The sound of the Xiao was just like Zewujun himself, like spring breeze melting into rain, warm and gentle and refined. While the music was exquisite as ever, it left a bitter taste in one's mouth. The night breeze gently caressed them. Lan Xichen's black hair was already a little disheveled and his forehead ribbon slightly askew, but the head of the Lan clan of Gusu, who was always mindful of his deportment, took no notice. It was only when his song concluded that he put down Li Bing. Playing music late at night is prohibited in the cloud recesses. I have stepped out of line and made a mockery of myself before Wei Gongsa many times tonight. No big deal, Wei Wuxian assured him. Has Zewujun forgotten the one who's violated the most rules of all stands before you now? Lan Xichen chuckled. The Lan clan of Gusu has never revealed my or Wanji's past to the public. I should not have told you, but I had the urge to pour my heart out tonight and did so on impulse. I'm not the gossipy sort, Wei Wuxian stated. So Zewujun, you can rest assured. Nevertheless, I suppose Wanji would not hide anything from you either, Lan Xichen idly observed. If he isn't willing to say, I won't ask, Wei Wuxian said. But given Wanji's personality, how will he say anything if you do not ask? Lan Xichen pressed him. And there are some things that he will not say, even if you do. I love Lan Xichen. I love him so much. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's shipping them. He's really shipping them here. Wei Wuxian was about to reply when he heard the sound of footsteps behind him. He turned around and saw Lan Wangji walking over, bathed in moonlight. In his right hand were two round wine jugs with bright red seals. Wei Wuxian's eyes lit up. Nguyen-jun, you're too sweet. Lan Wangji approached and handed the jugs of Emperor Smile to him. Wei Wuxian pranced into the cottage with the jugs in his arms, and Lan Wangji shook his head at his retreating back, though his gaze was extremely gentle. Lan Xichen glanced at him. You brought them over from your room? Lan Wangji nodded. You had best not touch alcohol, Lan Xichen advised. Be careful to not end up as you did back then. Ooh. His eyes fell upon the fold of clothing near Lan Wangji's collarbone. Lan Wangji lowered his head to glance at his chest. It will not happen again. Lan Xichen forced a smile, then heaved another sigh. Oh, fuck! Like, oh my god, that's fucking... It's so sad. That's so sad. That is so sad to think that Lan Wangji got fucking wasted and branded himself. And Lan Xichen probably was the one that found him and was like, oh my fucking god. And then probably knew. Like, maybe that's when Lan Xichen found out Lan Wangji's feelings for Wei Wuxian. Oh, man. That was so good. And like, listen, you know I love to make jokes. I love to make jokes. The fact that like Xichen's like, damn, found out my boyfriend was evil. Flute solo? I love making jokes about stuff like that. But truly, I think that scene was like fucking masterful. It was so good. Like I was gripping onto every single word. I didn't even want to make any jokes. It's just so good. It's so good about Xichen. It's so good about the themes of the story and like just learning more about Lamonji. And of course, Xichen and Jingguanyao, like I ship that as well, but it's just like, it's just so good. It was such a good scene. Like, oh. Damn. That was good. Xichen, I broke a rule. I apologize. Lamonji, babe, I brought you wine. Shaney said the iron had to be cooking, so he was drinking for a while to get it hot. Oh, fuck. Damn. That was so good. That was so good. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock, so I gotta go for dinner. But that was a really good stream. Please let me know if you guys liked the stream, if you guys are as gripped to those scenes as I was. Be sure to click like on the stream. It helps out with the algorithm and everything. Oh my gosh, that was really good. Esper Lady says that was an amazing stream, Kictor. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. That got so emotional. Those are such good scenes. It just feels so good to read. Like, oh, I love that. Like, man, that's so good. Sumo says it was great. I had a lot of fun. Aw, thanks guys. I really appreciate that. Okay, tomorrow, is tomorrow Thursday or Friday? Is tomorrow Friday? Oh shit. Okay, tomorrow's Friday at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, it will be our members only game night. So the vibes will be much happier, much more excited than this. We'll probably play some Frantic Fanfic or Gartic Phone. So if you have a membership, if you were gifted a membership or you'd like to join my membership, any membership tier can join 7 p.m. tomorrow, Pacific time. We'll play some games and it'll be great. All right. Okay, I love you guys and I will see ya tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.